My name is Oscar Laufer and I'm with PayKey. Thanks for having me here. I'm very honored to be part of the India FinTech Awards. We call ourselves the key to social banking. We are an Israeli company, founded in 2014. We're about 30 people, and we have some very prominent financial institutions as our backers. We recently closed the Series B funding round, giving us the wings and the solid foundation for further growth and geographical expansion. Among them are MasterCard, Commerzbank from Germany, Santander, SBI Group of Japan, not to be confused with State Bank of India, and some VC funds. We're looking at millennials and how they're using and behaving on their phones. And 85% of time on their smartphone is actually spent in native apps, but 84% of that is spent in only 5 apps. And you can all think about which 5 apps you're actually having open and are using on a daily basis. And outside of these 5 apps, there's not a lot that you actually do on your phone. Millennials spend all their time in social and messaging apps. Facebook, Messenger, WhatsApp, Hike, and there's new entrants coming into the space here into India. So already WhatsApp was there and is adding payments. There's PayKey that is now launched a messaging app. Hike has added payments. Google Test just launched. So there's a convergence happening between the messaging applications and payments. And this is changing drastically and very rapidly in the Indian market. And we see this also on a global scale, of course. Messaging applications have added payments because this is what end users actually want. Conversations are taking place in the messaging app, and those include talking about money, splitting a bill for dinner or drinks, for a trip you're planning, an apartment you're sharing. And this is where the local players here are also tying into. So the question arises, and it's almost a rhetorical question. Are the big social brands going to be the next banks? We saw that also Facebook has acquired a banking license here in India. There's new players with the payment banks. In India, the largest messaging platform, Kakao, started a bank and got over 1 million customers in only 5 days. I just read last week that they now own 45% market share of all new accounts opened in Korea, in South Korea. That's tremendous. And you can imagine what that means for the incumbent existing banks in that space. Because they keep on investing in their mobile banking apps, but still, often they're not very intuitive. They're not in the context of the social conversation that people are having in the messaging applications, and they're not really appealing to the millennial lifestyle, because the engagement, as I said, is elsewhere. It's in the messaging app. This is where people would like to do everything. It's like, think about it. If you're taking a picture while you're in WhatsApp, you're not moving out of your WhatsApp application and opening up your camera app. No, you do that right from where you are in your messaging app. And the same should be with doing payments and conducting financial transactions. And the banks, they realize that, but they're losing at this time. And there's all these other players coming into the market, device manufacturers, social media players, even e-commerce players in the market. So this is where PayKey is coming in. What we have developed is a social banking keyboard integrated with a bank's mobile application or e-wallet. And that gives and allows users to access a variety of financial services from within any application on their mobile phone, without having to switch to that other application. And that's a powerful proposition. So it's a full keyboard with spelling check, autocorrection, text prediction, support for different languages, that is residing on your mobile phone, on the operating system, but has a special key that can be branded for any bank, any e-wallet, or even telco, and gives access to a variety of services. So in the context of banking, you can think of making and requesting a payment, notification from your bank, like your account, your balance dropped below 0, maybe you need a loan, checking your account balance. You can think of, was my salary paid, was my rent deducted, did I get my tax back? Make an instant deposit in your saving account, locate a nearest ATM, or even bringing in a chatbot into the existing UI of the keyboard. Because think about it, the keyboard is actually the most used application on your mobile phone. Whatever application you're opening on your phone, the keyboard is always there. Whether it's in WhatsApp, in Facebook Messenger, in your email, in your browser, it's always there. So just to give you one example, if you would like to make a payment, this is how the flow could look like. You are you are in a WhatsApp conversation. You type, you press the button. It puts the keyboard in payment mode. It opens up a menu. You choose a contact. You tap an amount. You authenticate using the authentication of the underlying mobile app, and you complete the payment. We're live with 6 banks, including Westpac in Australia, Davivienda in South America, which is a large consortium where we integrate with their mobile wallet. UOB in Singapore. And as you can see, for all of these banks, we created a customized branded experience, implementing their features, their logo, their branding, and each of them chose different features to implement into the keyboard. Basically, rather than having to pull the customers to your branches, to your online banking, to your mobile banking, our solution brings the bank to where the end users are spending their time, which is in messaging apps. We think we have a unique value proposition, bringing contextual money transfer capabilities to the end user, but at the same time being agnostic from any payment app or even messaging app. I won't go into the technical details. Basically, our solution is an SDK that is customized for the bank and is being integrated with the banking app or the mobile wallet. And is distributed as such with their app. So it's not a separate download from the App Store, which makes the distribution and the adoption much easier. We partner already with many banks. And as I mentioned, we're live with 7. We have a whole pipeline of other banks going live. And we're a team of over 30 people. Thank you. And I don't, would that be the time, or do I have time for a 1 minute video? Solution. So let me show you very quickly an example of a movie that was made by UOB in Singapore, and it shows a chat between 2 people that went on to a date, and shows you the actual solution. So you see the keyboard, you see the button, it opens up a menu, you press Pay Now, which is comparable to the UPI scheme in India. You press a recipient, an amount, you authenticate, and you complete the transaction. It's really that easy. And this is just doing a payment. But as I said before, you can basically bring in any feature, any functionality that is available in a mobile app into the UI of the keyboard. Thank you.
Can I integrate multiple banks?
Very good question. So at this point, our model is to customize for one specific institution and basically create a unique experience for their customers. So you could theoretically have multiple banking keyboards on your phone that you can switch between. We do believe that the bank that is moving fast and first and is offering a lot of functionality will have a competitive advantage. So our business model is basically software licensing. It's an annual license contract.
Do the bank applications require separate authentication?
That's also a good question. So typically what we do is we basically bring the authentication method of the bank into the keyboard. So whether it's OTP, it's a Touch ID, it's just a simple passcode, it doesn't matter. Whatever the bank is requiring, we can bring into the keyboard. There's no, we're not inventing or creating additional authentication methods.
Would the banks be a competition to you?
Excuse me?
Would the bank themselves be the competition to you?
No, not at all. The banks are really our partners. I would say that our competitors are maybe rather, or the competitors to the banks are rather the social networks that are integrating the payments in think of what WeChat has done in China. That's maybe the extreme example of putting all their services into one UI. And of course the banks are also working together today with Facebook Messenger and with WhatsApp. The problem is for the banks that all the data go through their networks and they lose the control over UI, the whole user experience. They can't easily implement other features and basically are bound to the policies and guidelines of those social networks. With our solution, they have complete freedom in shaping the user experience.
How long does it take to, how long does it take to integrate with the bank?
We can basically integrate in 4 to 6 weeks. That sounds extremely short, almost too good to be true, but it is because we only integrate on the API level with the mobile app of the bank, we can actually do that. And we have actually with Garanti Bank in Turkey, for example, which is part of the BBVA group, we've done it in about 4 weeks. I usually say between 4 and 8 weeks to be on the safe side.
Your final question? Do you own IP? What's stopping banks from developing themselves?
Also a good question. So there is banks actually that have tried to develop a keyboard. I can tell you it's not easy. A keyboard has a lot of logic in it, and spelling check, autocorrection, text prediction are things that are not easy. Text prediction alone, we have 4 people working on continuously improving the text prediction. The premise is basically very simple. If the keyboard itself is not very good, end users will never use it as their default keyboard. So we spend a lot of our efforts, a lot of our R&D resources on actually developing a good keyboard in itself.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Oscar.
Sure.